All right, everybody. We have another very special guest for you all, another returning special guest. Everybody, please welcome back to the show, Richard Fairgray. Welcome, Richard.
Woo!
Yeah, woohoo!
I feel like you guys need a studio audience, honestly.
Yeah, we need like the Price is Right music. Da, 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 da,
So I'm trying to remember how many times have I done the show now? Is this my fifth?
I would say we'll have to go
Yeah.
back and look, but I think it's 5 or 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. All right. As long as I had this thing where I was on Wine and Comics, which was a show that only went for like a year, and I somehow appeared on that 5 times, and that sort of broke a record. You know, well, I like sort of set the record there, and so now I've decided I want to be someone that maybe people will never read my comics, but they'll just fucking know me so well
from the interviews that you do. They're like, I know that guy. I'll never read a fucking book by him, but
I mean, yeah, like the more they get to know me, the less likely they are to read.
Like, yeah, still it doesn't get me. I mean, yeah, Wine and Comics. I mean, did you happen to hop on there a few times just because you got to drink wine while talking about comics? Was that the gimmick?
Well, see, here's the thing. As a fully grown adult man, I can drink wine whenever I want.
Yeah, I was going to say you can do that right now if you wanted to. You can do that on our podcast.
It's noon for me. But you know what? Why not?
Why
not? Right there, you go.
It's funny you bring up the studio audience, though. I was thinking about we have a soundboard for this that I can use, and I was thinking about like it'd be funny to have like a laugh track.
Yeah,
one day. Or
like
one
of us has to be funny. One of us has to be funny for a laugh track.
Well, it's usually for the guests.
Yeah.
I think what you need to do is wait till they say something really impassioned about their Kickstarter project and then just laugh track immediately.
This is a story about my dead family and and how I was in a car crash as the only one who survived.
Or get a laugh track that's just like one person laughing like very intensely but quickly and a little too late. So just like they say something, you guys say like they say something funny, you guys say completely silent, and then you hear from the background.
Like the sharp exhale laugh. Yeah. I like that. We can work on some stuff. Chris is writing down notes right now. I can see he's taking notes.
Got a notebook right next to me.
Yeah. How to do the laugh tracks. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you're back on. I think we try to, as much as we love having you on the show, we try to space it out when you got stuff going on, but you got so much shit going on. It's,
I try to not reach out until it's been like at least 3 books have come out since we last spoke.
Yep.
Because otherwise it'd be like, I mean, I've got 26 books coming out this year. That would be every 2 weeks I'd have to appear on your show. And I think you guys might get sick of me.
Never.
Do you think maybe I should, if you let me know in advance, I'm willing to travel. So you let me know in advance who your other guests are going to be, and I will just show up to their record. Like I'll just walk in the background, just carry my book through, and be like, just so you know, another one by me.
Another one by me. There you go. You could double.
Book.
Yeah, we'll let you just 2 for 1 these interviews. I think some of them it's like, I mean, if it is just one Kickstarter or the person's first Kickstarter, it's like, okay, well, they don't have that much to talk about. So we could use you as a shoe-in for some of these.
Maybe you bring me in as like a ghost of Christmas future. So like you get the soundboard, you start hearing the jangling of chains, and then I'm in behind them being like, this is what it looks like once you have done 10.
This is what you could look like. This is your future. And they're like, fuck this, I'm out of here.
I'm only 17 years old.
I have back problems.
Oh my God. I realize like, you know, when you reach an age when you can start pinpointing what causes the problem.
Oh yeah.
Like when you're like, when you're young, you do damage, but you don't notice for a while because you're bouncing, right?
Yeah. You're like, okay.
You work out one day or you do like a pull up or whatever. And then like the next day you're like, shit, I hurt in my arms and I can't remember what I did yesterday. Now I was at Heroes Con last weekend. And obviously, I always fly Southwest so I can take 2 checked bags and a carry-on because they don't weigh the carry-on, so you can get like another 40 pounds of comics in there.
Yeah, comics are heavy.
Comics are very heavy, so I'm traveling alone. I've got 2 suitcases on one hand, and thank fucking God that suitcase technology has advanced enough that the suitcases can remain upright because I could not do this if they had to tilt.
Oh yeah.
But I'm walking along with it, and I feel this thing like across here, like right above my boob and armpit kind of point. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's what it is. it's the pulling heavy things to cons that causes that pain.
It's the dragging the comics along. I think we get to that age where it's like menial tasks like that. It's just like, well, fuck. I can't.
That's the new video we got to put out, the Comic-Con workout.
Ergonomics.
When I was in high school, one of my friends was dating a guy in his mid-20s, because you know how mid-20s guys are.
Oh, yeah.
And he was really into working out and playing guitar. And he would always he would work out at specific times of day and then eat very specific things afterwards. And he was like, the whole point of these workouts is you tear the muscle and then you eat things that cause the muscle to grow back bigger. And I'm like, I don't know if that's medical science, but I've remembered it. And so every time I feel that feeling, I'm like, shit, I should go eat some of that weird powder that guy had. Maybe I'll get a big muscle there.
Yeah.
But, I'm always at an airport where I don't have a big tub of powder.
Yeah.
They don't like you traveling with big tubs of powder. That is a thing. As someone who cannot get Trader Joe's chili lime seasoning in Canada, I travel with powders a lot. And man, you got to check those things, because they will open them, they will test them, they will stick their fingers into them.
Oh yeah, they swab them. Yeah, they they run them through the computer to see if they're like bomb residue. I've seen
comes up as delicious.
They're like, you're safe to go.
My friend just came back from Florida and she got like interrogated because she brought back a pouch of sand.
Wow.
And just like them asking every question, trying to figure out what it was.
Hey, so actually though, they're right, because that's weird as shit.
Yes. Well, she's weird as shit. So yeah,
Florida sand. I don't think is very clean.
Like,
probably not.
Here's some cool pictures from my vacation. You take pictures. I take sand. I collect the stinky ground dirt, the beach dirt, if you will.
Bacteria ridden.
This like fish piss soaked nightmare.
Yep.
I put it in a Ziploc bag. Yeah. Like, I like that. Maybe here's what it is. Like how sometimes if you're like on the subway in New York, it'll pull up to Canal Street, but the like window in the door will be perfectly framed, so it just says anal, and you're just like, great, happy to be here.
Yeah.
Maybe she put down a box of sandwich bags and something landed on top of them, like an alligator claw or whatever, and it just says sandbag, and she was like, I meant to put sand in that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. That's the only plausible way to bring sand.
I mean, I will look. I had never had anal before until that subway.
It was a calling, right? I mean, it was like a divide.
The great thing about anal at Subway is you can choose 6 inch or foot long. No, fucking.
Oh man!
See, I went full circle.
It's not a $5 foot long anymore. That's for
sure. There was a Subway across the street from me that had a special deal where you had to buy 3 footlongs from a certain menu, but there were $4 if you bought them after $4 each if you bought them after 3 p.m. Okay. And I was broke like a bad joke, because I was like, shit, that's like 3 days worth of food.
Right.
It's also like 9 days worth of toilet visits.
Oh yeah.
But like, man, that felt like a good idea the first time around.
Yeah, until you spent double the money on toilet paper, and then you're like, wait a second.
Okay, well, I'm ahead of you there. I steal toilet paper.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not accustomed to those. Well, if I try to steal it from work, it's like that 1-ply stuff.
I
grew up on that shit.
I'm a big tough guy. I only steal the 1-ply stuff from work.
Yeah.
Back at the beginning of COVID, so I think I've mentioned this before. The office next door to mine is a casting agent, and so they have like identical looking people in the hallway all the time. And one week there was like auditions for a kid's role. And kids get far more nervous before auditions because their parents are out there telling them they're going to be a disappointment.
Yeah, and like screaming in their face.
Yeah, so like communal bathroom on a Tuesday, the week's toilet paper was gone.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And so I was suddenly like, shit, I have to buy my own toilet paper for work now. So I started stealing it after that every week, because we get 12 rolls a week between the 2 offices, and I'm here alone, and they're almost never here. So I was just stockpiling it every Sunday night. I would go in and take everything left. And I ended up with like literally like 1,000 rolls of toilet paper in my office. And when COVID hit, I was like, I'm so set. I'm good for this. And so I like message everyone I know. I'm like, look, I'm going to leave toilet paper out front of my house. You can't come in, but if you need toilet paper, this is where it is.
Come pick
up what you need. Just let me know. And I'm not going to like leave it out there for the hordes, but like if my friends need toilet paper, the first day, I had like maybe 30 people showed up and like took 4 or 5 rolls each.
Wow.
The second day, almost all of those people showed up to return the rolls because the one-ply toilet paper was too much for their delicate little buttholes.
They're like, actually, I want to return this used roll.
Here's the thing. Like, I'm a hairy guy, and my hair goes from smooth to wiry depending which body part. But, like, you see these people going for this, like, 3-ply Charmin bullshit, which, by the way, that new wavy bottom of the toilet roll thing. Like,
nothing.
Like, hey, did you know that you have trouble tearing toilet paper off?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't. That's not a problem that needs to be solved. I can use toilet paper. I have been for weeks now.
Instructions aren't that hard for toilet paper. This is
Yeah. Although the bottom of it does look like a ghost. And so I'm wondering if, like, what's scarier than if I turned toilet rolls into a little ghost so it had like 3 holes already in it for the eyes and the mouth?
Oh yeah.
That's like finger holes pre-made for the Halloween season. But I like, I hate Charmin because it crumbles against hair.
Oh,
You're leaving Florida sand all over your butt at that point. And I don't need that nightmare. I like my rough 1-ply, you could also wrap a sandwich in this and take it to a school lunch in 1992 paper. I want to feel like I could bake something in my toilet paper.
Mm-hmm. No, completely agree. Yeah, I don't see I just see it's more of a user error for those people. They're and a little ungrateful. I mean, you were really Robin Hooding the toilet paper of the office, and they just weren't appreciative.
And see, here's the thing. So you think I'm like so prepared, I'm so on top of everything. And I'm feeling like a little bit of a mess at the moment. My friend actually said to me, like, just, when someone says something to you in a quiet moment and you're like, oh shit, I didn't know you felt that way. Like, my friend last week at the con, he just looked at me and goes, I kind of really feel like you're flailing right now. I don't know. And then just walked away. I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, wow. Good luck dealing with that in your own thoughts
right now.
Yeah. I mean, you said you feel a little burnt out, right? You've been to like 4 weeks of cons within 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, and I got another 3 ahead of me, but another 2 ahead of me.
Okay.
But and then I get it's 2 cons, and then I have to fly up to Canada for 2 days for some medical stuff, while also my husband has a litter of puppies right now.
Wow.
So I gotta dip into that noise for a second and then come back. And then I've got 1 week off before San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah,
but the point is, like, I was so prepared with toilet paper for so long, and then I'm in my apartment 2 weeks ago, and like I'm usually there. I usually leave by 3:30 in the morning to come to work. I usually get home a little before midnight, and there's not a lot of poop time. That's not my usual poop window. I'm a real, like, 9 a.m. till 11 a.m. There might be 3 visits, but then we got nothing for the rest of the day,
Yeah, a couple 2-hour window.
I am a man of a certain age, and, you're going to get 3 different consistencies across that 2 hours, and you're going to be like, cool, I've run the gamut. I've told all the different story structures of this shit session. Like, my hero's journey is complete.
Yep.
So, like, the 11-ish till 3-ish is not really the time, and I'm mostly asleep for it. But the other day, I had to go back to my apartment in the middle of the day because I was like, the door fell off my bathroom a while ago, and I live alone, so I haven't cared. But then I was like, I probably need to fix this because I have someone coming to stay, and they will probably want a bathroom door,
Probably.
So I go back to, like, look at the things, and I'm looking up on YouTube. Apparently, if you shove a bunch of toothpicks in the hole and put some Gorilla Glue in there, then you can screw into that hole, and then it'll all be fine. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to say I don't have toothpicks or Gorilla Glue, so I ordered them. But anyway, that's not really here nor there. My bathroom door is going to be great, or I'll get a curtain. But this is all kind of adding, like, texture to how fucking flailing my life is.
Hey, so it's working.
I get home. I'm like, you know what? It's between my 9 to 11 window. It's time to go to Dump City.
Population.
I sit down, and I'm like, oh, there's no toilet paper in my house. Like, thank God I'm right next to a shower. But, like, I have gone from the man with 1,000 rolls of toilet paper
to none.
Now, this is what makes it so much fucking worse. Do you know how long it took me to get new toilet paper in my apartment? 13 goddamn days.
What? 13 days?
Yeah, because I just kept forgetting. I'll be like, you get home and you're like, oh, I guess I still don't have toilet paper, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
It's one of those things. Yeah. I mean, as someone who's out of your apartment as long as you said every day, I
think there's like a real low point in life when you're thinking about, if I jerk off tonight, am I going to have to clean up with a paper towel? That's not a a texture you want to deal with.
No.
And so then I'll save it for work, I guess.
Every time. Always save it for work. I think the best part for me...
Mike, how often do you save it for work?
Every day.
Okay. Something this to your boss.
Only when I'm in the office. And my office is all windows, so it's perfect.
This is the nice thing about having this like office, a private office that's all my own.
Yeah.
And like I've never wanted to be like sleazy Hollywood executive type, but there is something very narratively funny about Grindr hookups at my office where I will somehow subtly say like, I could make you a star.
And this is the casting office. It's next door.
They look around at like the things on my wall and they're like, no, you couldn't.
No, you can't. What the I do find it funny that like you might have came to the resolution that you're like flailing at, your friend told you that, but then you didn't realize that until you're like, oh yeah, I don't have toilet paper. That's probably true.
That's
I'm a mess.
Well, I don't know if I'm necessarily a mess.
No, I wouldn't say that, but
I might be. I don't know. But I'm releasing my 200 I miscounted my books. I actually have released more books than I thought, which is sort of a relief. So I'll be putting out my 281st book on Kickstarter either this week or next, but it's in pre-launch now.
Wow.
I still am trying to get to 300 by 40. Technically 300 by the day before I turn 40, so I can launch the 301st book on my 40th birthday, which is stupid because my birthday's on a fucking Saturday, and who the fuck launches on a Saturday? But
yeah, come on.
I think the promise of sexy portraits of Danny DeVito will be enough to bring the crowds out.
Sold. I'm waiting.
It's gonna be a good book. Book 301.
Yeah, that's that was.
I remember you teasing that book to me one time. So that is happening.
Oh yeah, I'm 146 portraits in.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually haven't drawn one for about 3 weeks. But
we talked about Danny DeVito penguin.
It's specifically the penguin. It's
okay.
It's the book is, for anyone who doesn't remember, it is I'm only drawing Danny DeVito as the penguin until I stop wanting to fuck him. An in-depth review of Batman Returns. And it's sort of a masturbatory journey through my feelings toward Danny DeVito and reflecting back on the different people I've been attracted to over the years and trying to find a common thread and trying to sort of unpack whether it's like his physical looks, which obviously it is partly, but like, or just that he's a broken dirtbag who I want to apologize for. And then sort of playing that through and seeing how many terrible friendships and relationships have I had in my life where I have just like seen someone as being the villain and wanted to defend them to try and find a more interesting, nuanced narrative beneath it.
There's a lot more deeper meaning than just sexy Danny DeVito.
I know, but when he's eating that fish, right?
Oh man, every time gets me every time. So I mean, yeah, I remember when you brought that up, you were like, okay, but I need to look into if I can do this.
I decided I asked a lawyer, and the lawyer was like, no, you can't. And then I was like, but what if I did?
Yeah, but what would really happen?
I mean, everyone told me not to release a memoir, and they were like, are any of your exes litigious? And I was like, one of them super is. And they were like, don't do it then. I was like, I just will. I'll see what happens.
Yeah, but you did. It's all right. It
was fine.
Things are fine.
Everything's fine. I have toilet paper again now. I have 6 fucking rolls of toilet paper.
Oh, man.
By the way, new toilet paper arrived like 4 days ago. Haven't opened it yet because I don't shit at home.
It's going to be a cycle of like you use it, you're going to forget you had it, you're going to forget you need it. It's it's never going to stop. So the
true horror here is when you get to Canada and then there's no toilet paper there either.
Yeah.
Oh, you think it's like a Twilight Zone thing where like finally I have time to shit, but there's no toilet paper.
But there's no more. There was so much time. I love it. Or no, well, I guess it doesn't matter. If you're the last person on Earth, you don't need a door in the bathroom. I was going to say no, the bathrooms have doors, but that's probably less
it depends if you have pets. Like I think I'm a firm believer. I lived with a cat for a while, real asshole of a cat, and the bathroom door was a bit janky at that place too. And the cat would push in and get in there, and every time you were taking a shit, she would just come in and stare at you and shit on the bath mat because you're like, you can't get up, you can't do anything. I'm shitting on your bath mat right now. What are you going to do?
Total power move.
And so one day, my roommate was in Mexico. I was alone in the house, and I walk through and I see the cat walking to her litter box, which, by the way, she always used the litter box if you weren't on the toilet. I was like, fuck it, revenge time. And I just walked up and I squatted in front of her and took a shit on the floor, staring at her. And she didn't care. And I was like, I've built this narrative in my own mind. This is not Like, she's a cat. She doesn't have a storyline.
No.
Anyway, she's dead and I won.
Oh, clearly you're the winner here. I'll tell you every day. That's how you win. Just take a shit on the floor in front of the cat.
No, I mean I win because I'm alive. She died.
Oh, that too. Yeah. Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Sad for the cat.
Ever since adopting a cat, I've learned that I'm no longer allowed to shit alone.
Yeah.
He just walks in whenever he feels like it. He doesn't shit on the floor, but he just walks in, hangs out.
That's much better. That's what
you did casually mention it here, that you have a Kickstarter maybe coming out next week or the week after.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about that. That's volume 3, correct?
Yes, volume 3 of Haunted Hill. My favorite series. Probably my most divisive series, honestly. This is the only series that people email me about with like suggestions on what I should what the like. Okay, I'll just be like out front with it. This is the series where boys on the internet send me messages saying I should make Eva sexier or she shouldn't talk as much, and I'm like, this is wow. You guys you're saying the quiet part out loud. So
yeah,
Haunted Hill is the thing that I will do until the day I die, purely to spite those chuckle fucks.
Wow, that's
yeah.
Women speak too much.
Like it's bold move, Cotton.
Yeah, like. And they think that's like going to get you to do that. You're like, you never heard of an interview with Richard. I don't know.
I'm imagining a world where like there is a universe out there where I get that email. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to make Eva sexy and quiet.
Yeah, right. Shut up and stand there in a bikini. Like, what? Come on.
What if the boy characters were right?
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's one of those things for me where like that's so. I hate that people like have to jump into that because there are enough books and media in general where there's sexy characters.
Oh yeah.
But then the other side, I'm like, I hate when people are like, why are all the female characters sexy? I'm like, can both of you just shut up and let people just create? Like,
right.
Yeah. Like the problem isn't too much sexy content and too much male gaze stuff in comics. The problem is not enough of everything else as well.
Yes.
You know, for the second half of that critique. But I also think that like people get the same shitty people who are emailing me are also the ones who are like, how dare you make Nightwing like attractive to women? He's meant to be my weird power fantasy. Like, why do I have to keep seeing him with a good butt? I want to just see that he has like a completely flat cod piece like a fucking Ken doll, so that I can feel okay about him jumping around better than I do.
Yeah. Why do I have to see those cheeks? I have those cheeks. Yeah. But everybody knows Nightwing has a great ass. That's just
exactly.
I mean, come on. That's just a going thing. If you're a Nightwing fan, you just accept it. That's just it. That's like that's part of his utility.
That's why I'm not a Nightwing fan, Mike.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Chris does not accept the great ass. So
I prefer my boobs Captain America. That's what I'm all about.
Oh yeah, the big boob Captain America.
I love Captain America and his big heaving titties.
Oh yeah, voluptuous. So Haunted Hill, Richard, for if we have any new fans, which I doubt by now, but
thanks.
What
Mike.
is No, I'm just kidding. What is Haunted Hill for our listeners, and like what are you gonna do with Volume 3?
So Haunted Hill is a surrealist soap opera about life in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. I am really interested in the cross-section in the Venn diagram of misogyny and homophobia, where all women and all gay men reach a certain age and or weight and become completely fucking invisible, especially in LA, but I think largely everywhere. And I've written this as a wish fulfillment story where someone is weaponizing that power. Eva is a big sloppy dirtbag who's problematizing her way through every moment of life, calling people on their bullshit without consequence. Because they just while their feelings are hurt, they don't want to acknowledge that she matters in the moment. So they just walk away feeling a bit worse about themselves, and she gets to feel right, even if she's tired. The first book was, I'm also telling it sort of in pseudo real time because I really am fascinated by every excruciating moment of her life. Mm-hmm. So the first book covers about 2 hours where she gets out of a job interview. Her Uber cancels on her because she has a very low star rating, obviously. And she has no choice but to get in a car with some people in their 20s to get home. And when you get in a car with young people, everything takes longer. So instead of it being this 10-minute drive, they stop for donuts and a couple breaks up, and they pick up a homeless guy, and someone takes a shit in the car, and they go to an abandoned trampoline park, and on and on and on. You know how nights spiral, right?
Oh, yeah.
The second one is it kicks off from when Eva wakes up the next morning, and she goes to try and reconnect with her friend from school, who she hasn't seen since she was 12, and accidentally flashes his kid repeatedly and interrupts his father's wake. And just like uncovers the kind of messy, complicated bullshit that she has had no idea about, and all the reasons that he's mad at her from when they were 13 years old, mostly to do with the fact that she changed the password on his treehouse. Because this is also a book where kid logic works, so it's adult human emotions with kid logic. If you don't look down, you don't fall. Treehouse passwords work. You can get a good job at a museum because there's a lot of openings, because so many museum curators have been being arrested for dressing up as monsters. Just all that kind of shit.
Oh my god, I love it.
And then volume 3 picks up as Eva is on her way home from, no spoilers here, but accidentally releasing a whole bunch of ghosts. And her wife calls and says, "Where are you? I woke up and you're gone." And she lies and says that she went out to get pizza because she's missing New York. So she went to 7-Eleven to get some really top quality late night pizza. And her wife's like, "Cool, bring me back a slice." So then she actually has to go and get pizza.
No, she has to go get it. Oh, man.
So she goes to 7-Eleven, accidentally helps a serial killer, has an unpleasant interaction with a guy in a parking lot, does some late night drinking by the pool dressed like Jimmy Buffett with her wife, and then wakes up the next day and tries to get herself a comfortable chair so she can feel like she's at least achieved something with her time. It's another really small story where tiny little things get blown completely out of proportion. There's a ticking clock of you can't reheat pizza from 7-Eleven more than twice, because who knows what would happen, if that took place. And of course, you see the pizza is heated when she buys it. The pizza is heated when she gets back to the apartment, and then the leftover pizza is found by some kids the next day, and everything terrifying that implies.
Oh boy!
So it's I'm finding my dumb shit as usual, and it's a delightful, weird little story with some of my favorite moments, and again, a lot of stuff from my real life. The serial killer that she meets at 7-Eleven was a thing that really happened to me a couple of years ago. They say that on average, you meet one serial killer a year, you just don't know it, and so it was very weird for me to realize it. I was drinking on the boat next door late one night, and we needed some mixers. We went across the street to a 7-Eleven. And there was this guy in there who asked if I'd buy him. I couldn't tell if he was like homeless or like young and like dressing very fashionably poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like one of the dirty, young guy.
I couldn't tell, but he had he was a scary looking little guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Sure, what do you need?" And he was like, "Oh, cigarettes." I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And then he's like, "Oh, and also could you get me some alcohol, so some wipes?" And I was like, "Oh," so I'm like, "Okay, homeless. He's trying to like clean himself up and things."
Yeah.
He's like, "But they have to be the alcohol ones." I'm like, "All right, well, I'm not gonna. I'm too polite to say no."
Okay.
And then he's like, "I need a lighter." I'm like, "Okay, for the cigarettes." He's like, "No, a torch lighter." I'm like, something about this is getting weird.
Yeah, this is getting very specific, and now I need power tools.
The clerk at the 7-Eleven wouldn't sell the lighter to me because like she was basically like, "No, not for him." And I was like, "Okay." And we get back to the boat, and my friend is like, "That was weird, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let me just Google some stuff." And he's like, "Hey, so there's been a whole bunch of murders recently where homeless people have been being covered in alcohol wipes and set on fire in their sleep." And I'm like, "Oh, so it's weird when you know that you've met them."
Oh my god!
So I thought that seemed like something that it's so specific to Hollywood.
Wow!
And I thought that Eva should definitely have that same experience.
Oh yeah, that's wild. Yeah, at the time you're like, okay, alcohol wipes doesn't seem like a bad idea, but
yeah. Like you can clean yourself, you can probably get high from them, I assume. I don't really know.
Yeah, or you just set people on fire. Man, that's fucked up. Hollywood's a crazy place, man.
It's so good.
Definitely generates a lot of content.
It makes me so happy being here. That's the thing, like I walk down the street and something is always going on. Someone's always screaming at me.
Yeah. About something, about the world ending or just crazy shit.
I've recently moved into a new place and I'm much closer to a train station, so I started taking the train. not even to go anywhere, but just to like, it's just nice to be on a train. Like, it's so rare to find a public space where people are so casually naked. And like the train to downtown late at night is pretty consistently like at least a few dicks, if not at least like 5 or 6 boobs just hanging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Only in LA though, right?
Sounds like a good time.
I hardly ever get to go to New York anymore. Like I go once a year maybe. And obviously you're going to meet some cool people on the subway. You're going to see some interesting pets. We do not have that same vibe out here. It's a very different, very specific kind of public transit out here because no one likes public transit out here.
Yeah.
Because it's not good. So like just to be able to I think it's like LA cosplaying as New York if you go on the train late at night.
Yeah.
And it just feels like a little bit of a refresher of like
they're trying their hardest to be that.
It's not, you know, I think we all have the understanding of like we want Coke but we got Pepsi, or we wanted whiskey but we got Canadian Club. But like this is such a, you want something shitty but you get something worse. It's like I went for Subway but only Quiznos was open.
Oh yeah,
that's what the LA train is like, and it's kind of delighting me right now.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
I've only ridden the subway once in my entire life, but that's because I don't live in a big city.
Yeah. We don't have.
And I was in New York City. We were there for New York Comic Con, and I was on my way back from Brooklyn, and I was so pissed drunk and I was the sober one of the group, so I had to make sure everybody else was like cool while I'm scary. Like trying to stay standing up
and get you home. Yeah, good luck.
And it was like 4 a.m. It was literally like the last train before
the 4 a.m. is the best.
Yeah,
that's when shit goes down.
It's very interesting.
So I have a crazy story actually about New York City, New York Comic Con, being out drinking till 5 a.m. And then so we had to take the Staten Island ferry back to Staten Island to my friend's place, and I think we ended up at the Taco Bell at like 5:30 a.m. and then because naturally, and then we had to go to the ferry, catch the ferry at 6 a.m. And the ferry at 6 a.m. is a mixture of people who have been out drinking all night and people like starting their day, like, you know, jogging in place with their dogs, like, you know, getting their workouts on. And it's like, you just fucking hate those people when you've been out drinking all night and you hate your life. Mm-hmm. And this lady walked up to me and she had a pizza in her hand, like a pizza box. And she goes, "Do you want a slice of artichoke pizza?" And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah." Like, I was like so excited to have a slice. I wanted a slice of pizza so bad. And I think she realized that I was like in it for pizza. Mm-hmm. And she walked away. And my buddy's family who like lives there was like, "Oh, that was a prostitute." It's like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, they were they were off. There probably wasn't a pizza in that box." I'm like, "What do you mean? I just wanted a slice of artichoke pizza." And they're like, No, they realized that. You're a fucking idiot. And because she was walking away, I was like, "But what about the pizza? Where are you going?"
Same exact thing happened to me. I was in Australia. I was in Sydney. I forgot to change my clock for the time difference. I ended up getting up at like 4 a.m. and going to the train station to get to this con that wasn't, I didn't need to, the train didn't even start till 6. And I'm sitting outside the train station with all my suitcases full of books. And this woman comes up to me and she starts talking. She's being really friendly. And we're having this lovely conversation. Yeah. And I tell her I make comic books. She's like, "I love comic books." And I was like, "Cool." And then she said, "Like that guy on the OC." I was like, "Oh," and like something clicked in my head. I was like, "You don't like comic books. You're saying the only thing you know about them."
Yep.
Oh, this is a prostitution situation.
Yeah.
I thought I'd made a new friend. I was really sad. I'm sorry.
I'm caught in a transaction here.
Yeah,
this is a business transaction.
I understand that there's no one else on the street right now, but when you look down at my sparkly shoes and you know various other pieces of my outfit, you can probably guess that I'm not out here looking for puss.
Sorry, hon, not looking for puss. I love that.
Actually, that might have been the straightest I was ever dressed. I used to have a T-shirt that had I'd wear it to cons that had a picture of my face, but with like it was a cartoon of my face, but with no eyes, no nose, and no mouth, just the hair and beard and the skin texture, skin color, and it just said "See face for details."
Wow,
it was a terrible shirt, but I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, I do. I kind of want one now. That checks out, I guess.
It doesn't work for people without beards. You need the framing device.
Yeah, you need to frame the face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Chris, that'd be pretty good. You got a big beard there, Chris. So it'd look good for you.
Yeah, I could probably pull that off.
Yeah. So getting back to some of the stuff you're working on, we got Haunted Hill in the next couple of weeks, Haunted Hill Volume 3 on Kickstarter. And then you talked about something on BackerKit. You got a book called Frog Alley coming out.
Yeah. So
what's that all about?
it is a quiet, surreal, weird little horror story thing. It's a very hard book. I haven't figured out how to explain it easily. You know, like you talk about these books for so many months, and you kind of get that like little patter for them. And this one, I kind of haven't cracked that part. It's about a boy who goes to visit his grandpa, and on his way into town, another boy on a bridge says, "Would you like me to teach you how to fly?" And he says, "Not really," and walks on. And over the course of the weekend, he realizes he continues to meet this boy who continues to offer to teach him how to fly as he's being sort of hunted almost by these elderly women of the town trying to get him to eat their mac and cheese. And he keeps trying to get reception on his grandpa's TV to watch a Futurama marathon so that he'll know what to talk about when he gets back to school, and just gradually realizes as his suitcase keeps getting bigger and bigger that he probably is never going home, because he wouldn't need a suitcase this big if he was just here for the weekend. I like the easiest way I've figured out to talk about it is it's about a boy who was too weird to exist, but probably too weird to die either.
So he's stuck in the middle.
Yeah, and it's about like his grandpa was obviously too weird to exist too, so went away, and now he's having to choose whether he settles with his grandpa or learns to fly. And it's very like I don't really know how to put it. It's one of those books where if it were a movie, everyone would see it. Everyone would see it. Anyone who saw it would come back and say, "You have to go and see Frog Alley. What's it about?" I can't really tell you. It would spoil things, but just trust me.
Right.
You know, it's a little bit sort of like I saw the TV Glow, like that kind of vibe of just like it's very hard to explain. Like it is a horror film, but just in the way that it unsettles you, not in the sense that anything scary ever happens.
Yeah, it just puts you on edge the whole time of like you're waiting for something to drop.
Yeah, and I want to describe it as atmospheric horror, but I've kind of described too many of my books that way recently, and it's very different from Shed. It's very different from Wet Cement, but it is this. The people who have read it, it universally are like, I didn't expect this book to make me cry, and then it did, and I didn't expect this book to like make me want to read it again, even though it's like it's heartbreaking and funny and sweet, and you feel like it's a happy ending, but you're absolutely devastated that you still have to live in the world that this boy is no longer a part of. So that's I don't know. I'll figure out a way to describe it at some point, but it's a book that I I had this idea years ago from a real thing that happened to me. I went to visit my friend Jim, and his post office is haunted, and there was a ghost who appeared to me and offered to teach me to fly. And
as ghosts do.
Yeah, of course.
She flew me around the room. She flew me down the stairs across 2 nights, and she asked if I'd fly outside with her the next night. And I said, sure. But I ended up not staying there a third night. The next time I went to visit, I ran into someone else who had used to live in the house in the post office. And he told me that the same exact thing happened to him without any prompting from me. He just told me the same story that had happened to me back to me. And he said that on the third night, she came and asked if he'd fly outside with her. And he said he knew not to, because if he did, he'd never come back. And that's
terrifying.
Yeah, and like it's one of these things where if you then look into the history of the house, a lot of people have died falling down the stairs in the night there.
Oh, okay.
So who fucking knows? But I've sort of been holding on to like this parts of this, and it was going to be a thing in Black Sand Beach where I had a character who didn't want to live anymore because his eyes had become adjusted to darkness and he couldn't stand light anymore, and so his eyes were just pits of darkness pouring out of him. And when he gets this offer, when this kid gets this offer, he obviously takes it because he doesn't want to be here anymore, at least. And obviously Black Sand Beach kind of came to an abrupt end when the publisher was bad at everything they did. And then, I held on to it and I was like, well, hang on. I keep telling stories about my friend Jim, who was my best friend. He's the one who passed away right before I put out Octopus. He's the one who lived in the haunted post office and had like envelopes with sachets of lube all over the house because he was terrified that people wouldn't get enough chances to masturbate in their life. Like my absolute favorite person in the world. And he's such a fucking weirdo. And I'd never found a way to like tell a story about him. And I sort of realized that as I wrote the script, I wrote it in like a morning for this thing and didn't draw it for about 4 months because other shit kept coming up. And when I came back to it, I was like, I don't even know if this is good. I don't know if any part of it is working. I'm drawing it like one page at a time. I'm being all experimental with the art. Everything's done just in pencil and then like treated in weird ways digitally and through photography to like make it feel, I don't know, almost a little too intimate, I guess. And then I want you to feel like you're seeing the texture of the paper that I'm drawing on. I want you to look at it from a healthy distance and feel like you're me up close drawing with this fucking pencil. And I suddenly realized like I've accidentally written a story that is like an actual metaphor for my entire relationship with Jim, and this knowledge that I know that he would have been very happy if I had said, I will come and live with you forever. I love you too. And I did love him, but I was not willing to give up my life to go and live in a tiny small town in a haunted post office.
Yeah.
And I've always felt incredibly guilty about that. And so to have us be able to do a story about, in this case, a grandson telling the grandfather that they don't want to stay, like, sure, we're weird in similar ways, but I still have to go and do my own thing.
Right.
Was very difficult. And I might love this book more than anything else I've created in like the past 5 years. And I also think it's going to be one of my like weird little things that goes completely unnoticed and 5 or 6 people are going to find it over the course of a decade and like think it's the most important thing they've ever read. And everyone else will be like, oh yeah, that's the Richard book I didn't look at. So, be one of the 5 or 6. Go look on BackerKit. I don't have the link. It'll be somewhere.
7 or 8 people now that they've listened to the show.
I certainly hope so.
It's on BackerKit. But you're doing the pre-launch for a Kickstarter, or is it going to stay on BackerKit?
That one's staying on BackerKit. I got asked to be part of this thing, Comictopia. It's a big thing through July where a bunch of people are doing cross promotion with like rewards for backing multiple projects, to kind of bring a lot of new comic people to BackerKit. And because I'm trying to get these enough books published before I turn 40, I thought might as well do that, and I can run a Kickstarter at the same time rather than have to like delay my schedule, because I do work fast,
Mm-hmm. A little bit, yeah.
Although I don't anymore. See, I'm doing this book Wet Cement, which takes like 2 days per page and is fucking killing me. And then because I'll get into that later. I'm doing my most ambitious comic ever. It might kill me, we'll see. But so I thought, okay, I'll do this, and I can put this one out there. I had another book that was going to go up there, and then I decided that I wanted to use that for a different thing. I wanted to rework it, so I thought I'll delay it. And I thought I'll back out of this whole thing. And I was going to do Frog Alley on Kickstarter right now, but then I needed something for BackerKit, and I didn't want it to be a 3rd volume of a series that I'd done on Kickstarter. I wanted it to be something standalone. So by default, it has to be Frog Alley. Mm-hmm. It will be available as a add-on on other campaigns on Kickstarter later, of course. And there might be a world where I look at this thing and I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have rushed that one. I don't like, I'm not going to change the comic. I think it really is perfect for everything I want it to be. But there might be a world where I release a special edition of it through Kickstarter later on with extra features and more of a kind of a deeper. I have not yet fully unpacked what is going on in that story, and I want to provide a commentary or a written piece after it to, mm-hmm. I don't know, honor Jim or something. Fucking weirdo that he was.
I think it is pretty. I mean, I have the cover page pulled up that I'm looking at. I do love the art for that, and the colors that you picked, and.
Oh, you mean another Richard cover that's green?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, like just kind of like your walls behind you.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I don't notice it until I look at my table at a con. I'm like, hey, 11 green and pink covers.
Yeah,
That's weird.
it's like pretty iconic now for that color scheme. But I do think it's interesting that you talked about it being this like eerie, unsettling book, but then also it's a testament to your friendship or this person that you've loved and lost. So I think that's I think those two things combined are just makes it very interesting and compelling. Something I definitely want to read. So,
well, that's good. See, maybe we'll get to 9 people.
Yeah, 9. So now you're at 9. I don't know. Chris could make it 10, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, back to everything else Richard's done, so I might as well.
There you go. Might as well. In it for the long haul, right?
No, eventually there's going to be like, Richard, stop it. Like,
stop, Richard, please. I can't read anymore. No.
Well, something I've actually found I've been interested to ask you about is I've noticed. So when we first discovered you, I should say, it was through Blastosaurus, which was a comic you did issue to issue, so on and so forth. But then after that, I really noticed that you were just doing kind of collected editions or trade paperbacks, graphic novels, whatever word you want to use for it. And then since coming to Kickstarter, you were doing the big graphic novels, but then with Brides of Frankenstein, you went issues. So I guess there's a long way of asking, what goes into the decision of whether you're going to do like a big trade or a single issue for these projects?
A lot of it is time. With Octopus, I didn't want to put out part of that story. I think it's like I want people to feel like they're diving into a fucking pool of me and reading all around. The stories told out of order and what have you. With Haunted Hill, I had already released the first 9 issues online when I started releasing it as books, and I thought, like, I don't want to be futzing around with individual issues on this stuff. I want to have the books out there. I think they'll look nicer on my shelf. When it came to Ex-Wives of Frankenstein, I thought, like, this is something that is a very slow burn. I'm playing with this idea of, like, can I tell an entire comic that takes one day? Can I take some big piece of genre fiction and turn it into this very small, quiet, conversational piece and have it take 4 issues for them to get through, like, the four kind of stages of a difficult conversation? And I didn't think those would work well if it was all in one piece. I didn't want people just... I felt like I needed the gaps between, in the same way that I think it matters when you turn a page that you imagine you've taken a break. I wanted there to be time, but even if someone buys all 4 issues at once, they still have to put one down and pick up another one and open it, and it signals to them in the way of, like, that what's that the symphony, which is just silent but only denoted by, like, closing of a piano lid to show that another movement has started. And, like, obviously that's a fucking nightmare and no one should go and see something like that.
Right.
But, like, hearing about it is sort of interesting. With this, I wanted to, like, think about those parts mattering. The parts of the comic that matter to me. Like, comics happen in the gutters, right? Movement happens in the gutters. That's your imagination showing how people move from one panel to another. Comics that don't have actual gutters, comics that have just a single black line between panels, are always worse, and always more poorly paced. I'm sure someone has done it well, but I'm not sure I've ever seen it. And I want to, like, find the way to expand that. And I want to make the time between the issues matter. If it's going to go from a single moment and, like, actually pick up where it left off, I need you to be holding your breath for that. That feeling of the end of season 2 of Buffy, where she leaves, she's killed Angel or sent him to hell, and she leaves on the bus just to leave Sunnydale. There was in New Zealand, when that aired, there was an almost 2-year gap before the next season started for us.
Yeah.
And, like, I held on to the feeling of absolute, like, horror of Buffy being that sad for those 2 years and never let it go. And it that's powerful television. Now, admittedly, I was like 13, so maybe it wouldn't hit so hard now. But like I want to have I don't want to have that effect on someone, but I want to, like, explore why that worked and what I can do between things. With something like Wet Cement, it's set across the course of a full year, and so I'm sort of timing the releases so that you'll get the 6 issues at around the time that, like, not necessarily the time of the year that it happens, but at around the intervals between them. So that one's going to have sort of some, like, sometimes it'll be a 4-month gap, sometimes it'll be a 1-month gap, because I know what the moments are that I'm highlighting.
Okay.
It's all nerdy formula shit, but I get
wow.
I was gonna say that was a much more thoughtful answer than I
Yeah,
expected.
that's not my typical Richard answer. I was very intrigued by that. That's like, wow, we've seen another side to you there, very geeky side.
Imagine if I was just like, no, it's the money. I just like that people pay me more if I sell
money, more money. Richard, dude, thanks for spending another day here with us on the show. And I want to focus again on everybody here for Haunted Hill 3 on Kickstarter. That page is up to get notified about that, and then Frog Alley, that page is up for backer kit to be notified as well, right? So, for the listeners, the viewers, if you want to send them anywhere, those are the two spots, or follow you too.
I mean, kind of my forever link is always kickrichard.com. That currently will take you to Haunted Hill, but the Frog Alley one you got to find separately, I guess. And whatever projects I have on Kickstarter will always be at kickrichard.com. I'm also now the owner of horsegoogle.org. So if people want to go check that out, it's just a really helpful resource for finding horses.
I'm going right now.
Well, yeah, we gotta look at this up right.
Yep.
It's taking much longer to load than I expected.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah. Just that was a late night drunk purchase. So if anyone has like a better joke that I can do, because so for the listeners, it just redirects you for search results. Google search for horses near me.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all it does. And if someone can think of a funnier thing for me to have it redirect to, please let me know. Because I got nothing. I was like, I woke up in the morning. I remember having a very intense conversation with my husband. Being like, I need to buy horsegoogle.org. It's available. And he was like, what's it for? I was like, it's for work. And I remember really insisting it was for work. And I woke up in the morning. I was like, it wasn't for work. What the fuck was that? Like,
yeah, what the fuck?
You know, I used to own meatysandwich.guru and I let it lapse. I used to own mouthandbuttstuff.church and I let it lapse. Like,
those are pretty important ones.
I cannot let go of Horse Google.
I gotta say, Mike, I don't know how many are around you, but I'm surrounded by horses.
Yeah, I apparently I can adopt a horse near me, so that's pretty cool. I'm learning a lot more about horses just from this. Wow.
I'm not a horse fan personally, but
I don't think there's any other way to, like, for a Richard Fairgray interview to end it besides that. That was the most Richard Fairgray way to end it, and I'm absolutely fucking love it.
Yes. And to everybody out there, you know the drill. I'll have those links in the show notes down below so you can click on them and check out not only horses in your area, but all of Richard's comics that are currently on Kickstarter and or backer kit. So, Richard, thanks so much again for dropping by, man. It's always a blast.
Thanks for having me.
We always look forward to the next time, man.
Thank you. Bye.